to Reggie, the legend. This one's for him. We're gonna have some fun talking Phantasm through his
Cheers.
years. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of After the Last Rental, where I bring the poor.
And I bring the gore. I'm Zach.
I'm Mike, and if you're new around here, this is how things work. Zach picks a tape from his video store, which you see in behind him, and I pick what we are drinking. So, Zach, tonight's a little bit of a different, more special night. Tell us what you've picked and why we've gone with this particular choice for the night.
Well, as of yesterday, Reggie Bannister has passed away, so we're gonna tip our hats to old Reggie and have ourselves a good old-fashioned discussion on Phantasm 3. It's a
Well,
good movie.
it is. Again, don't trust the internet because the internet will tell you that it's not a good movie, but what do they know? Um, what does the back of the box say?
Okay, brace yourself. This is another four banger. All right. It's never over. For science or sci-fi horror fans everywhere, when Angus Scrimm returns as his tall man in the mind-blowing finale to Don Coscarelli's, hope I said that right, cult classic Phantasm trilogy. A recent inductee into Fangoria's Horror Hall of Fame, Scrimm rejoins the original cast members Reggie Bannister, A. Michael Baldwin, and Bill Thornberry in a classic but deadly battle between good and evil. 13 years after the original nightmare begins, Mike and Reggie reunite with the spirit of Mike's dead brother and are pursued by the tall man through a warped dimensions of space and time. Who will reign supreme? Prepare to be scared, witless, as the fine line between the living and the dead snaps with a vengeance. Boom.
Who will reign supreme? Right? Reminds me of Iron Chef. I think the notable thing on here is that, and it kind of dawned on me because my timeline was all mixed up when we were talking about when this film came out. But they were kind of releasing a Phantasm like once a decade up until this one here. And it is kind of crazy that, other than there was like a swap with Mike there for a bit,
Yeah.
it's pretty much the same cast.
Well,
Reggie, Bannister, Angus Scrimm continued to return. So I think it's pretty cool how it can span that many decades, still keep that momentum, and keep the same cast.
yeah. I want to. This is like one of those series that like Don, what's his name, Conscarelli.
Coscarelli. I'm gonna get
He always had it. Like he never like let go, so he was like always like there. Kind of like Child's Play and well now Terrifier is like
yeah.
there's like a through line that it's being helmed by the same guy.
There is some integrity, at least that you believe you're kind of seeing the full vision of the writer, and like
Yeah,
you said, he's
yeah,
always at the
yeah.
helm. So what's cool about this, and this will kind of segue into our pour. So with the passing of Reggie, the internet has been flooded with stories about Reggie, and in the convention circuit, uh, he was one of the most respected people there. Obviously, his work's great as an actor, and a lot of people had stories about sharing drinks with him. That they were like, I saw him in the hotel lobby bar. If you had questions, he would pull up a seat, sit down, grab a few beers, and hang out. Now, Don Coscarelli also paid tribute, and he wrote that he went to a bar one night. Now, where I don't understand what's clear here is like if he already knew who Reggie was, but Reggie was playing music, and Don was going to go recruit him for his feature film, Jim, the World's Greatest. And Don was only 18 at the time. And when he approached Reggie, Reggie was just like, "Yeah, I'm just trying to play some music." Like, what? You're doing a big old film? And he bought him some beer, and it was the first alcoholic drink he was served illegally at a bar. So it takes me back to the Dunes Cantina. If we were there, I know we typically mess with some whiskey, and I'm good with some cheap whiskey sometimes. But I said, you know what? I want a cold beer. If that's what ignited the flame between Don and Reggie and why we got all these great Phantasms, then let's do a cold beer. So we just really said we're gonna grab any cold beer we have in the fridge. Zach, I feel like yours is a little bit more appropriate with that retro bud.
It's just a good old fashioned Budweiser, baby. We getting it.
Yeah. I wish I had one, but I have another pretty cool beer, I'd say, from a local brewery, from Third Moon Brewery. And at least thematically they connect the supernatural and horror elements with their beer. So this is called Rise. It's a pale ale, and it's delicious. And this can is sweating, and it's begging me to crack it open and have a sip. So Zach, let's cheers to Reggie, the legend. This one's for him. We're gonna have some fun talking Phantasm through his
Cheers.
ears. All right, so how this works around here is we have the three sip system. We're going to start with nose, our initial impressions. How did we feel going into the movie? Expectations, memories, all that fun stuff attached before popping it into the player. Palate, core flavors, what worked, acting kills, atmosphere, and then our final sip, the finish, the lingering impact. Does the movie stick with us? Would we rewatch it? So with this one here, initial impressions. I also enjoyed part three, and when you suggested it, I feel like it further reinforced our friendship because you could go with part one. Part two is kind of fun too, but for me, what I remember most is that like Reggie is front and center in this one, and this is where he graduates from like major supporting character to like bona fide main character. And as a whole, I feel like this movie is where it hits its stride with like the balancing act of sci-fi, supernatural, even though again the critics at the time were shitting on the inclusion of zombies. And it's a bit wonky, it's a bit weird. There's some comedy in there. But I remember it really enjoying this one and being able to revisit it reminded me of why it stands out in the franchise.
Like part three always stuck out to me. I always thought it was the most fun. Had so many things going on at the same time. Like obviously the first one's really good and creepy. The second one's also a really good sequel, but like part three is just it's just so much happening. It's like huge. like like you're like watching it, and you're like yeah, like the first arc of the movie, you're like, wow, that was a lot. And then like it just keeps like like it like kind of like goes up and you doesn't really like plateau at all, just keeps going up. Like it's so fun.
All right,
Uh,
so the palate, core flavors. So for me, and I kind of alluded to this on the nose, is I like that Reggie is the everyman. Dude's not a soldier, superhero. I mean, arguably he is a superhero by the end of this. But when you look at his origin and his genesis, he's the ice cream man thrown into this horror. Um, it reminds me of, and we kind of talked about like Halloween 3 and Dr. Dan Chalice there and Tom Atkins, because, he's kind of like the ordinary guy. And we see this in how he reacts, and that's what makes it more enjoyable. So, yes, his character is painted as like the average guy who's kind of got roped up into this. But sometimes when he reacts, something serious is happening, and it could be really cinematic, and he's like, oh shit. And
yeah.
that's exactly how we would act. Um, and I think what's cool is that so Reggie Bannister plays the character Reggie, and our buddy there, Don Coscarelli, wrote this part with Reggie in mind. So hence probably why he kept the name Reggie. But I think it was just like this perfect combination that obviously he's a talented actor, but he really can play into when he takes on this full-blown action hero, like with a shoddy and and taking on whatever those tree things are called, the little tree goblins there. He's taken on zombies, and by the end of it, I would argue that he is a full-blown kind of superhero kind of soldier, but in the DNA of who he is, he's kind of just the average guy. And I thought This one really does a great job at balancing those things.
Reggie in this movie, like when to Tony on you saying like Reggie's like the everyman hero. Like I feel like Reggie's portrayal in part three, particularly, is like a realistic version of Jack Burton from Big Trouble Little China.
Yeah.
Like first off, no truck driver is fucking Kurt Russell good looking, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's just ridiculous. But like every like Reggie's reactions throughout the whole movie are just so yeah, that checks out. That's what I'd do, huh? You know what I mean? This movie is like a lot more well put together than I think I ever gave it credit for.
Mm,
Like for instance, when Reggie runs into the lady looting the town,
yeah.
the girl in the gang of three, like, and they knock him out. Like they're all just like wearing a ton of gold because they're just looting stuff. Like the one guy has like a watch on both wrists, and like they just have like gold necklaces and like a million rings. You're like, yeah, like it was such like a like I don't know, like I guess like I never paid like looked at it in that light. You're like, yeah, 100%. If a town's abandoned, like I'm gonna have every piece of gold on me. Like, it's
I'm gonna
so
have the gold, the
smart.
turquoise. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
another like for instance, like when you were saying how like this was, you mentioned this being Reggie's like step out in the forefront, like they they did that in another fun way where they just made his car insanely rare. Like a 1970 Hemi Cuda, that's a convertible, was like literally one of 14 cars. Like like that's the muscle car of the 70s. They just don't exist. But they had a not a real one, but still like they gave Reggie like the car of cars. Like they made sure you knew Reggie was the cat's meow this time around.
yeah. I
Pretty
mean,
nice.
yeah, give him that car, and I was digging into it a bit more because you and I were chatting while we kind of did our watch along, and when you mentioned that it's rare, I thought like again like what kind of budget did they have for this film, and is it more rare now? And you were like no, like even when they came out they were quite expensive, but I found out that Don really wanted to give Reggie this vehicle, and it was kind of like because when he was as a child, he said that like growing up that he loved this car. He had seen a version of it done with like a white interior, and I forget the color on the outside. So he got one like off factory, and then made the modifications to it so it looked like I guess like the more rare one. It's beyond me in my car knowledge, but he did still buy like one fresh off like the line in the factory, and he really was set on spending a good portion of the budget so that our boy Reggie can pull up in a real fierce whip.
I mean, like what? I think he had a 71 in like the first two movies, and it's like not good enough. Not good enough. Let's get this super rare car. Like that's so rad. The part we have to talk about in this movie, little
Tim,
Tim and
Kevin
his Kevin
McAllister.
McAllister attack. This kid's house is absolutely brutal. But like in that sequence from them breaking into his house and to him icing them all, like I caught like arguably three references because so like the the mannequin sitting in front of the TV, the old people that were rocking, like the mask that was on that looks just like the Slaughter High mask
Mm,
without the jester hat.
yeah.
And then when he's up and he has like that baby mask on, like I mean obviously it more reminiscent of Happy Death Day, but that's irrelevant because that's in the future.
Yeah.
But he has a red hoodie on. It kind of looks like the deep red mask.
Yes.
And then and then the best reference ever is in the back. Well, I don't know if it was a reference. I mean, I guess they could have both had really good ideas. But the Razor Blade Frisbee from Hard Ticket to Hawaii. Like, I mean, I guess you could independently think of razor blades on a frisbee. But come on.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit too specific, but also great reference because I didn't even make that connection. And I just watched that recently because I got a whiskey from Hawaii. So I was trying to go super on the nose and go super Hawaiian. And I was like, oh, hard ticket to Hawaii, razor blade frisbee on the beach. And here you are throwing it out. And yeah, it didn't even come to mind when we just watched it. One funny moment though was I forgot this came out in 94. And the whole time, I'm like, Zach, Home Alone, rip this off. I said, Kevin McAllister, rip this off. This is Home Alone. He's like, oh, dude, like this came out in 94 and Home Alone was what, 91? So,
Oh,
so maybe this drew inspiration. I mean, that knifed, was it a clown that came swinging down the stairs, kind of like the paint cans? The whole
yeah.
house is booby trapped, but Tim flexes his skills right off the bat. Like this guy's like, I can throw daggers. I have the house booby trapped. At this point, we don't really know his gun skills, but like he later shows that he's a gunslinging cowboy, an
Kid is a
assassin.
stone cold killer. Like another like thing about like how this movie like had it was like good direction. It like well like the reactions made sense. So when like the girl crook took the tomahawk to the face, like her dude with the red shirt and the money sign, the giant money sign necklace is like, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's how you react to those kinds of things. Like you know what I mean? Like it seems like insane, but like how many times do you like watch like a movie where like you're like a cohort just gets iced and the person just like whatever. Like
Yeah.
no, that's
Yeah.
that's your
I'm
bread,
next. Like,
man.
let me take my turn at him. Yeah.
Like
What I love though, and I think, adds to this film is Reggie kind of like ends up inheriting this kid in this house, right? And the kid's flexing his skill, like we said, he's a stone cold killer, but Reggie's still like, I don't know if I want to be a parent or protector to this kid. So he pulls out some cash to drop him off at the orphanage. But we know that Tim ends up coming along for the ride and the journey, and I feel like we have our anchored characters who we've seen in the past films, but like this was like a fun addition. It kind of seems random because like he encounters the kid and he gets kind of put on this journey with Reggie, but I dig it. And then we see the same thing with Rocky being introduced, and Rocky kind of matches his energy, and like why is she now teaming up? So we have like Reggie, Tim, and Rocky, this trio, the like most random trio of survivors, warriors, whatever you want to call them, that you can have. But yeah, I think it was fun that they they kind of honored the original two films and have the recurring roles, but then add these kind of new fun characters that can kind of like match Reggie's energy and support him in his triumphant um, hero's journey.
yeah, like all right. So with Tim being a cold-blooded killer, like like the scene where like the old dude in the group like falls in the pit, and like and then they have like that wide shot of like of the Cuda with Reggie's in the trunk, and like they show like Tim like like aim up at or I guess aim down at like the ground guy or the hole man, and like it cuts to like Reggie in the truck. You hear him fire, right? So like this kid just iced this guy in a hole, and when he comes over to the car, he's like, "How do I know you're not one of them?" He's like, "Because I'm in here." Like, it's so funny. Like it's such good logic. God,
Yeah,
what
but
a
that's what it is because like I know you and I both we've watched countless movies together, and you even more so than me, you're like, yo, that person would never say that in that moment. Or you'll kind of even correct and be like, here's how I would respond. And like that's what we go back to, kind of really nailing like the everyday man, average Joe, kind of like this is how a person would respond. And the movie has such a finger on the pulse of like what the average person would do if they encounter this.
like I don't want to say that I'm an expert on the everyman mentality. However, I am drinking Budweiser out of a Gravedigger cooler and wearing a camouflage hat. Like,
I think you could be our next hero.
I am the embodiment of the Midwest right now. Look
Yeah.
out.
Where did Phantasm leave off? What part? I think you're the next installment.
Yeah.
Ex Except I'll be Angus and I'll just but I'm not tall at all, so I'll just be short man.
Dude, this is super excited to get us like just shave my head around the top and just leave the Reggie Bowl. Oh,
One of the other things I mentioned Rocky joining the crew. What's her friend gets killed off by the orb, which is a cool death. I thought was like,
that
pretty
lady
fun.
was full of blood.
Yeah,
It was
just
so much
gushing.
blood came out of that woman.
So the
She was just
orb
like a
drives right into her head, and this thing's spraying. It's like
it was like a Guar concert. Like
the only thing I mentioned at the end is like once it's done spraying, she's on the ground, and there's not even like a lick of blood. It's just like a nice like closed up hole there. Like she's just drained. Like every bit of blood that was in her came out. One last thing that I wanted to mention in terms of palette is the use of special effects. And I feel like throughout the film, like the first one has a bit of it. The second one goes pretty hard with special effects. And the third, because we get these like Deadite zombies as well, um, there's a ton of cool stuff. We mentioned the orb drilling. Now it was a little bit excessive. The blood was spraying. But to me, the makeup on the zombies, the nurse in the beginning, was it the nurse where she takes the chunk of her head off? Like this film could have easily, because it's like fun and playful at times, it could be cheesy, but I feel like it delivers on the effects too in terms of it still being, I don't want to say realistic, but like super creepy, super well done, and it really sells that this is like a serious film. I think that's what kind of keeps it in that top tier still, is that even though some of the dialogue can become playful and it's sprinkled with some comedy here and there and weirdness, when it comes back to like the horror parts, I guess, when you have like when the three return, those three hooligans, the looting hooligans return as zombies, it's pretty freaking scary. And like
yeah.
that one
And they
woman doesn't want
keep
to die.
deteriorating.
Yeah, and she gets shot, her head shot off the side of the car, falls on the road, her head gets ran over, and complete mess. And they just keep coming back, and it's messy and it's awesome. So yeah, special effects was one of the big things that stuck out for me.
Yeah, I think the thing I like about this movie a lot is how well they played nuances or like subtle, like not everything has to be a grand gesture in this movie. And like they do like these small things that like if you're you can miss them. Like when Rocky's fighting the zombie lady with the nunchucks,
Mhm.
like she like goes to fight like Rocky or the demon or the zombie lady, and like Rocky swings the nunchucks. That lady ducks as Reggie comes up, and Reggie gets like knocked down with a nunchuck, and then like they tussle over they do some sort of more nunchuck, and the lady, the zombie, takes the nunchucks and throws them, and they hit Reggie again. Like it was so like comedic and so subtle. Like you know what I mean? Like it was so awesome that they like didn't even like make it like that grand of a thing. Like you can miss it. And another thing I thought was pretty fun is like they're like explaining the short dudes and the balls. They're like, oh, they take your body and squish it, and they make you a bad guy. But like it's okay because they take your brain out of it and they put your brain in this ball. So like you're just like a flying mind and this is just a squished body and like that's how it works. It was like, oh, I mean,
Yeah, I
you
feel
had a
like
couple movies thinking about like what's going on here, and like, oh, they're just squished people. Huh.
you'd barely have to squish me, man. You might even let me keep my brain and throw me.
You can probably get two of them out of me, be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. Um,
6'2"? Like that's 2 and 3-1. Come on.
I'm half of one. I'm the one who fell out of the tree just
but but like I said, like like uh, like I think this movie's smarter than a lot of I think it'll ever get credit for, just because like they had so many small hints at things that there weren't being egregious about adding it in, and
Mhm.
like were tasteful, which is crazy to think that, Phantasm 3, like, oh yeah, the movie that was real tasteful with the nunchuck
Yeah.
humor. Like,
But I would argue that, when we go back to the through line with Don Coscarelli at the helm on all of these, it again, like even if there's some risks taken or things that seem interesting, whether they land or not, like where the respect is there, and I mean, like no one can disrespect the nunchucks. Like that's though that nuanced hit on Reggie, like there's no contesting that. But it's his vision, right? And I feel like that is what keeps it consistent too, no matter like how it deviates or like adds new elements to the story. Like it just feels like it comes from a place of like passion and care that there is that attention to detail, so you respect it. And even if you were like, oh, in this particular sequel, this element didn't land for me, you still know that it's like this love and commitment to the story. So I think like anyone else, it would have been zombie girl takes them, throws them to the side, move on, but not in this one.
yeah,
Reggie's taking another bump to the head.
the real man's Jack Burton, telling you. Like,
All right, so final sip, the finish. Um, Lingering impact. Does the movie stick with us? Would we rewatch it? I don't think we need to say much in terms of would we rewatch it. I'm gonna probably rewatch it again sometime this week, even though we're done recording it. But for me, it's like I know we're talking about three, but again, because this is Reggie's character arc and story arc, and the pinnacle of him becoming the main character. When you think of like the Ice Cream Man graduating to taking on this like interdimensional like Undertaker character, um, and now he's a shotgun wielding like monster hunting dude. Um, it's fun. It's absurd from the start when you think about it. Um, and you know, Reggie, he's like this loud, like emotional person, and in contrast with like Tall Man, who's like cold and mysterious and this alien. And I just think like this is where we get the strongest of like Tall Man showdown with Reggie, and it's a fun one, man. And if I could, I would like encapsulate it in a orb and keep it forever.
do you want a Phantasm 3 snow globe?
I do.
Yeah,
Christmas
so
idea, Zach.
so the Phantasm 3, like this was like when we started this at the list of movies that like I absolutely want to do. In fact, that Phantasm 3 was on that list. And like, yeah, it's a bummer. This is we had under the cir I guess I didn't know, Reggie personally, but still bummer. Not only would I rewatch this, I'm going to rewatch this a lot. I've rewatched it a lot already.
Yeah.
Like, but also, I would like to point out that Angus Scrim has a birthday coming up here shortly.
Which coincides with.
My birthday.
Yeah,
Me
you
and the
know what?
tall
Like,
man.
I think, especially now that we're in around the convention scene a little bit more. You're in and around talent, and you hear stories, whether it's your own experiences or you hear stories. For me, what really stuck out is again, I never met Reggie, but anyone who has had nothing but positive things to say about them, and that's what inspired the whole like cracking a beer is just that they were saying you could bump into this guy anywhere, and he would take the time. You went up to his table, and I'm sure he hears it all the time, like, "Hey, I love Phantasm," and here's what the movie means to me. And he would genuinely listen to people. And when you hear those things, it's not easy kind of like doing that and kind of maintaining that level um, of being personal and even just people skills in general, right? Like you'd burn out um, yeah, just nothing but positive and great things that are said about him. So it takes us to the verdict. And I think this one's pretty self-explanatory. And our SIP system gets rated whether it's neat, pretty much near perfect. There's not much we can complain about on the rocks that it was, good, maybe a few minor flaws and issues, or watered down, something that, is kind of riddled with maybe some things we didn't like or problems. And, I'll kick it off by saying this is like neat all the way. The tall man always comes back. The nightmare never ends. And to me, Reggie's, in my mind, he's always back in that CUDA, kind of riding off at the end of part three, just riding off into the sun there. And he's gone,
So,
but I think he's going nowhere. He's with all of us, and his legacy lives on. So this is completely neat.
I would like to say by rating, not only is it gonna be neat, it's neat in like a really nice glass.
Yeah, and a
Like,
double.
oh, this is like dust off to fine china.
Yeah.
Like we got company coming over neat. Like, I'm trying to impress somebody neat. I love this movie. I've always like this movie has been it's so fun. I think if you don't like Phantasm 3, you probably not that cool.
I'll judge you.
Like, like nerd.
Yeah. What?
Like,
Well, it's unfortunate that it took Reggie's passing to make this happen, but it's true. And I remember of all the titles that Zack threw out at the beginning when we embarked on after the last rental, that was in the mix. And you know what? Even though not the best reason, I'm glad that we got to do this and crack a beer for Reggie. So that's it for this episode of After the Last Rental. If you dig what we're doing around here, remember to follow, comment, like, subscribe. But let us know, what movie would you like to see Zach pull off the shelf for future episodes? And
there's some back there.
let us know what you would drink as well throughout the pairing idea as well and what you're pouring. Until next time, keep your tapes rewound and your glasses full. Cheers, Zach.
Cheers.